Today, we're uncovering the stories of 6 sandwiches that were once household names but have since faded from family menus. These sandwiches defined American lunches and dinners from the 1930s to the 1980s, but are almost forgotten today. Why did they disappear, and what can their stories tell us about how American food culture has evolved? Number 1. The cream chicken sandwich. The cream chicken sandwich is a classic dish that dates back to the early 20th century, popularized during times when economical, hearty meals were essential. It was especially prevalent during the Great Depression and World War II, as it was a practical way to stretch a small amount of chicken across multiple meals. The dish involves shredded or diced chicken, cooked in a rich, creamy sauce, often made with milk or cream, butter, and flour, to create a roux. This creamy mixture was then served on slices of bread, often toasted, making it a warm and comforting meal. The cream chicken sandwich thrived in an era when home-cooked meals were the norm, and convenience foods had not yet taken over. Homemakers sought out ways to make meals that were not only filling, but also used up leftovers effectively. The sandwich fit this need perfectly, as it allowed families to use leftover chicken or inexpensive cuts of poultry. It was also versatile. Some variations included mushrooms, peas, or even pimentos, which added extra flavor and texture to the dish. However, the decline of the cream chicken sandwich is closely tied to broader societal changes in America's food culture. By the 1970s and 1980s, processed and convenience foods like TV dinners and fast food became much more accessible, reducing the need for labor-intensive, home-cooked meals. People wanted meals that were quicker to prepare, with minimal cleanup, and the cream chicken sandwich, while delicious, did not meet these new expectations. Additionally, growing concerns about health and nutrition led to a decrease in the consumption of rich cream-based dishes, as Americans became more conscious of fat and calorie content. Another factor contributing to the sandwich's decline was the shift toward more globalized flavors. In the latter part of the 20th century, American palates were expanding, with the introduction of international cuisine and more diverse ingredients. The relatively mild and traditional flavor profile of the cream chicken sandwich began to feel outdated, especially compared to spicier, more vibrant dishes from around the world. As a result, it slowly faded from everyday menus, though it still holds a nostalgic place in American culinary history. The cream chicken sandwich also lost ground to more portable and simpler lunch options. With the rise of sandwich chains offering quick, customizable meals, people began opting for items like deli meats, wraps, and salads that could be prepared in minutes and taken on the go. The effort and time required to make a roux-based chicken filling for a sandwich simply didn't fit the modern lifestyle. Number 2, the tongue sandwich. The tongue sandwich, particularly popular in Jewish delis and immigrant communities during the 20th century, was once a prized delicacy. Beef tongue, the main ingredient, is known for its rich, tender texture and distinctive flavor. It was a common menu item in New York City's iconic delis, where tongue sandwiches were served on rye bread with mustard, pickles, and other traditional deli accompaniments. Tongue, unlike many processed meats, was considered a premium cut that required time and skill to prepare, contributing to its association with high-quality, artisanal deli cuisine. Historically, beef tongue was a popular food item because it was both economical and flavorful. Immigrant populations, especially Eastern European Jewish communities, brought their culinary traditions to America, including the use of tongue. In the early 20th century, the tongue sandwich became a staple in Jewish delicatessens across major cities like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The process of cooking tongue was labor-intensive. It involved simmering the meat for several hours to achieve a tender, flavorful result. This slow cooking method was a testament to the care and tradition behind the dish, making it both a satisfying and culturally significant meal. However, over time, the tongue sandwich began to decline in popularity. Several factors contributed to this. First, changing American eating habits shifted toward leaner, more familiar meats like chicken, turkey, and ham. Tongue, with its unusual texture and taste, did not appeal to the broader American palate, especially as younger generations grew up without the same cultural ties to the dish. As the American food landscape became more homogenized, many diners found the idea of eating tongue off-putting, largely because of its appearance and the fact that it was a less commonly consumed part of the animal. In addition, the rise of convenience foods and faster dining options in the post-war era contributed to the decline of traditional deli foods like tongue sandwiches. Preparing tongue required significant effort, both in terms of cooking time and expertise. As people sought quicker, easier meals, labor-intensive dishes like tongue became less practical for both restaurants and home cooks. Additionally, tongue is a relatively expensive cut, which further pushed it out of reach for casual dining, especially as cheaper, mass-produced sandwich meats became more available. Another major factor in the decline of the tongue sandwich is the health-conscious movement that took hold in the late 20th century. As Americans became more focused on healthy eating, red meats in general began to fall out of favor, and tongue, a fatty cut of meat, was no exception. Consumers were looking for leaner, low-fat proteins, and the heavier, rich nature of tongue did not align with the emerging health trends. Culturally, the shift away from tongue sandwiches also reflects broader changes in American dining preferences. As global cuisines became more prominent in the U.S., traditional Jewish deli food began to lose its dominance, while classics like pastrami and corned beef have managed to maintain a following. More niche offerings like tongue slowly disappeared from mainstream menus, surviving primarily in a few nostalgic or high-end delis that cater to traditional tastes. Number 3, the Spam and Egg Sandwich. The Spam and Egg Sandwich gained prominence during World War II when Spam became a widely available and affordable source of protein. Introduced by Hormel Foods in 1937, Spam's popularity surged as it was heavily relied upon by U.S. troops and civilians alike due to food rationing. The combination of Spam and eggs quickly became a staple breakfast or lunch option, especially in households seeking a quick and filling meal that didn't require fresh meat, which was often in short supply during and immediately after the war. Spam itself is a canned, processed meat made primarily from pork shoulder and ham, with added salt, water, and preservatives. This long shelf life made it an appealing choice for families looking to stockpile pantry-friendly ingredients that could be used at a moment's notice. The Spam and Egg Sandwich, typically made by frying slices of Spam and pairing it with scrambled or fried eggs, often on white bread or toast, was quick to prepare and became a comforting, protein-packed meal. In post-war America, Spam continued to be popular, particularly during the 1950s and 1960s, when convenience foods were celebrated for their time-saving benefits. However, the introduction of fresh meat alternatives and the growing availability of refrigerated meats began to challenge Spam's position on the family table. With the rise of the fast food industry in the 1960s and 1970s, many people started turning to pre-made sandwiches and breakfast items from restaurants, which further contributed to the decline of homemade meals like the Spam and Egg Sandwich. Health concerns also played a significant role in the decline of Spam in American diets. By the 1980s, the growing awareness of the risks associated with processed meats, such as high sodium, fat, and preservatives, led to a drop in its popularity. Consumers increasingly sought out fresher, more wholesome ingredients, turning to lean meats like turkey or chicken as healthier sandwich options. The rise of low-fat diets and a focus on reducing sodium intake further pushed Spam out of the spotlight. Interestingly, while the Spam and Egg Sandwich declined in the mainland U.S., it maintained popularity in places like Hawaii, where Spam became deeply ingrained in the local cuisine. In Hawaii, Spam is still frequently consumed in a variety of dishes, including Spam musubi, and it remains a cherished ingredient in many Hawaiian households. The cultural attachment to Spam in the islands stands in stark contrast to its diminishing role on the mainland, where its once iconic pairing with eggs has been largely replaced by fresher or more perceived natural alternatives. Number 4, the Ham Salad Sandwich. The ham salad sandwich was a classic in American households, particularly popular from the 1940s through the 1970s. Its roots lie in a time when resourcefulness was key, especially during and after the Great Depression and World War II, when wasting food was not an option. Ham salad allowed homemakers to use leftover ham, mixing it with simple ingredients like mayonnaise, mustard, pickles, and occasionally boiled eggs or relish to create a flavorful spread that could easily be served on bread. This dish embodied practicality, turning what might have been discarded into a quick and satisfying meal. The popularity of the ham salad sandwich can also be attributed to its simplicity and versatility. Unlike more elaborate sandwiches requiring multiple ingredients, ham salad was inexpensive and could be made in bulk, making it a go-to for picnics, potlucks, and large family gatherings. During the mid-20th century, processed foods like canned ham became widely available, further fueling the dish's rise. Packaged ham allowed families to enjoy ham salad even when fresh meat wasn't available, giving it year-round appeal. The sandwich also became a fixture in delis and diners across the country, where it was often served alongside potato chips or pickles. It was considered a humble yet comforting meal, ideal for quick lunches. However, by the 1980s and 1990s, the ham salad sandwich began to fade from mainstream dining. A shift in American dietary preferences towards fresher, healthier options made the rich, mayo-laden spread less desirable. Concerns over the health risks associated with processed meats and the rise of more globally inspired fresh sandwiches such as turkey clubs or vegetarian options led to a decline in its popularity. The shift towards convenience foods also played a role. Ready-made sandwiches from fast food chains, which offered more modern fillings, began to dominate the market. Ham salad, seen as somewhat old-fashioned and heavy, lost its appeal in a world that increasingly valued speed, lightness, and portability in meals. The texture, often described as mushy, also didn't resonate with evolving tastes that favored crunchier, fresher ingredients. Despite its decline, the ham salad sandwich still holds a place in some regional pockets, especially in Southern and Midwestern American cuisine, where traditional recipes are cherished and passed down. In these areas, ham salad remains a nostalgic favorite at family gatherings, church socials, and community events. But outside of these regions, it has largely disappeared from deli counters and lunch menus, surviving mostly in the memory of those who grew up with it. The ham salad sandwich reflects a bygone era of American food culture, where thriftiness and simplicity were prioritized over health trends and global influences. While it's no longer a common fixture in American kitchens, it remains a symbol of mid-century resourcefulness and culinary tradition. Number 5. The peanut butter and mayo sandwich. The peanut butter and mayo sandwich is a quirky, yet surprisingly beloved, part of American food history. Its origin dates back to the Great Depression, when affordable and shelf-stable ingredients were essential for feeding families during tough times. Peanut butter, rich in protein and fat, was an inexpensive staple, while mayonnaise added creaminess and moisture, making the sandwich easier to swallow without the need for expensive add-ons like meat or cheese. This combination quickly caught on, particularly in the South and parts of the Midwest, where it became a lunchbox and picnic staple. While the sandwich might sound unusual today, its appeal lay in its simplicity and the way the creamy, tangy mayo balanced the dense, sticky texture of peanut butter. In an era when luxury ingredients were scarce, the peanut butter and mayo sandwich offered a satisfying and filling meal. It was a true representation of resourcefulness during difficult economic times, and families across the country came to rely on it as an easy, inexpensive lunch option. As food preferences evolved in the post-World War II era, processed foods and convenience items became more popular, but the peanut butter and mayo sandwich managed to stick around, particularly in rural areas where it remained a nostalgic comfort food. It was frequently mentioned in regional cookbooks and often served alongside potato chips or sliced fruit. However, by the 1980s, the sandwich began to lose its appeal as more people gravitated toward healthier or more modern flavors. The introduction of new spreads like jelly, honey, and chocolate hazelnut spread began to dominate the peanut butter pairing options. At the same time, mayonnaise, once a beloved ingredient in many American households, began to fall out of favor as health-conscious consumers worried about its high-fat content and sought lighter, fresher alternatives like mustard, hummus, or low-fat spreads. Despite this, the peanut butter and mayo sandwich retains a small but loyal following. For many who grew up eating it, especially in the South, it is a nostalgic reminder of simpler times. It has become somewhat of a regional oddity, with some younger generations discovering the combination through family traditions or local lore. The sandwich's enduring presence in certain communities highlights the ways in which food culture can reflect regional identity and personal history, even as national trends move in different directions. While it may never regain widespread popularity, the peanut butter and mayo sandwich is a fascinating snapshot of American food history, illustrating how necessity, simplicity, and taste preferences can come together to create dishes that endure in unexpected ways. Its survival in certain areas speaks to the power of food as a marker of time and place, and the way specific combinations, no matter how unusual, can evoke powerful memories for those who grew up with them. Number 6, the cheese and pickle sandwich. The cheese and pickle sandwich, while simple, holds a surprisingly rich and layered history within British food culture. Its appeal stretches far beyond just being a common lunchtime snack. It's a reflection of the nation's food evolution, wartime resilience, and regional food traditions. The heart of the sandwich is its combination of sharp cheddar cheese and Branston pickle. But what makes the sandwich so iconic is its embodiment of British practicality. Branston pickle, introduced in 1922, was not just any condiment but a product of the British love for preserving. Pickling vegetables has been a key method of food preservation in the UK for centuries, especially during times of scarcity. During both World Wars, the government encouraged citizens to grow and preserve their own food due to food rationing, and Branston pickle became a reliable and long-lasting pantry staple. Its rich, sweet, and tangy flavor provided a much-needed boost to otherwise simple meals like bread and cheese, helping elevate the humble cheese sandwich to a more flavorful meal. The popularity of the cheese and pickle sandwich in the 20th century was partly driven by its ease of preparation and the minimal ingredients needed. Cheddar cheese, also a British staple, was widely available and affordable. It offered a reliable source of protein and fat, making it a filling option for workers needing a quick, hearty meal. Because both the cheese and pickle could be stored for long periods, the sandwich was also a practical choice for families and individuals who needed to stretch their food supplies. Throughout the post-war years, the sandwich solidified its status as a go-to meal for the working class, particularly in industrial towns. It was commonly packed in lunchboxes for laborers, miners, and factory workers. The combination of the crumbly, sharp cheddar and the tangy, sweet Branston pickle provided a balance of flavors that was both satisfying and energizing for those on long work shifts. Unlike many sandwiches that were consumed fresh, the cheese and pickle sandwich actually improved with time as the flavors melded together, making it perfect for preparing in advance. Beyond the working class connection, the sandwich also found a place in pubs, becoming a popular bar snack. Served alongside crisps or a pint, it was a cheap, comforting food option that complemented British beer, particularly ales and bitters. The simplicity of the sandwich meant that it could be served quickly, meeting the needs of customers seeking something substantial without slowing down service. Its rise in the pub scene during the 1960s and 1970s helped cement its place in British food culture. In the late 20th century, as food trends shifted toward convenience and international flavors, the cheese and pickle sandwich remained a staple, though it started to face competition from new types of sandwiches and fast food options. However, its longevity is largely due to its nostalgic appeal. For many, the sandwich evokes memories of childhood lunches, family picnics, or simple meals shared with friends. It's seen not just as a sandwich, but as a cultural touchstone, representing a sense of comfort, tradition, and national identity. Interestingly, while the cheese and pickle sandwich remains firmly rooted in the UK, Variations on the sandwich can be found in other countries, often through British expatriates. In Australia and New Zealand, for example, Branston pickle and cheddar cheese are sometimes paired together in sandwiches, though not as commonly as in the UK. In the US, Branston pickle is often sold in specialty stores catering to British expats, but the sandwich has not gained widespread popularity due to differing tastes in condiments and pickles. In recent years, as interest in traditional foods and retro British recipes has resurged, the cheese and pickle sandwich has seen a revival among food enthusiasts and younger generations. Artisan versions have popped up in gourmet delis, with variations that include aged cheddar, artisanal pickles, and even additions like apple slices or watercress to add a modern twist. This renewed interest reflects the ongoing desire for nostalgic comfort food, even in an era when global flavors dominate the food landscape. The cheese and pickle sandwich's enduring legacy speaks to its adaptability, simplicity, and connection to British identity. It's not just a sandwich, it's a cultural icon that continues to find relevance in both traditional and contemporary settings, proving that sometimes the simplest combinations have the most lasting impact.